Mahendra, thank you so much for joining me today. It's a great summer so far. Hope you're having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely, Arvind. Happy to be here and looking forward to having a good discussion and being able to share some perspectives with this audience.
Absolutely. So why don't we start with introductions, Mahendra? Maybe a quick introduction about yourself, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the Chief Technology Officer for Hearst. Hearst is a conglomerate. We own 360 plus companies. So we are fundamentally a holding company. And these companies are grouped across various sectors. So we have newspapers. In fact, the San Antonio Express is one of the Hearst newspapers, and San Antonio being the location where this event is happening. We have television stations, we have magazines, in the newspapers, again, Houston Chronicle is a Hearst newspaper, which is the largest newspaper in Houston. We also own healthcare companies. We have transportation companies. We own Fitch Ratings. We co-own ESPN with Disney. So we're a very diversified, what we call consumer media and business media company, and we are private. So it's as I like to say, our brands are well known. Hearst may not be well known, so that's the company I work for. I joined Hearst about 6 years ago as the Chief Information Officer, and then I moved on to we recruited a CIO who reported to me, and then now I'm the Chief Technology Officer, and I focus on product leadership, product strategy. I work with our group heads and CEOs of almost all of our companies, and I also drive the generative AI agenda across all of the companies across Hearst. In addition, Hearst also has what's called Hearst Labs, which is organization that's focused on assisting women entrepreneurs succeed. And so it was started by our chief legal officer, and I partake and work with a few CEOs that make up the portfolio of Hearst Labs. And before I joined Hearst, I also used to be advisor for Springboard Enterprises, very similar to Hearst Labs in that they were also working to enable women entrepreneurs. And so I advise our existing businesses, work with them. In my team, we have leaders who help with product leadership and strategy, and AI strategy, et cetera. So that's my role, Arvind. And how about yourself?
Oh, that's a long credential right there. It's a hard act for me to follow, but for some of the audience who may not know this, newspaper is actually a very large paper thing that we used to read about 20 years ago. You guys nowadays, well, some of you guys who are watching this might be used to more of a digital media, but we have a celebrity amidst us, Mahendra. A little bit about myself. So I'm a chief data officer, a data and AI strategist. My role is primarily to enable, AI strategy and data strategy for a number of enterprises, such as Hearst and others, right? In being in this journey, I have never seen a technology adopted this fast, such as Gen AI. So we're all trying to figure this out. I wouldn't say a number of the enterprises I work with have their act together, but at least they're trying to put things in perspective and they're trying to keep ahead of their competition, if you will. In addition, I also work with a number of entrepreneurs. I work with them on their go-to-market strategy, specifically if they are building a product that is Gen AI enabled, or they're building a services capabilities that are supporting the digital transformation. I help them on a clear strategy on how to position themselves in this very fast-moving world of technology. So it's a pleasure having you here, Mahendra. Since we're talking about Gen AI, which is the primary focus of today's conversation, I want to kick things off by talking about your views of Gen AI as a capability, right?
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Perfect segue. So I've been mired in the world of generative AI since I think November of 2022 when it burst into the scene. And in terms of the strategy we undertake for a company like Hearst, we have five pillars that we are looking at. One is just in terms of enablement. So enablement means if our colleagues across all of our companies are not aware of how to use this game-changing, powerful technology, then we underdeliver and are only able to reap the benefits at a lower level. So we are undertaking an effort to train our entire company on the art of the possible of generative AI. That's close to 18, 19,000 employees across all of our companies. The second track is what we call our productivity track. And this one where we are looking at various use cases that will enhance the productivity of various roles across a business, whether it be finance, HR, sales, even product creation. How do you, like, for example, using a solution like ChatGPT or GPT-4o type of an LLM to help create headlines, and then it's obviously we use a human in the middle to make sure that it's all just not generative AI, but then various use cases to improve the productivity across the landscape. The third pillar I would say is product focused. So where can generative AI create product differentiation across our portfolio of products and solutions? And then the fourth pillar, I would say responsible AI, as well as making sure that we are putting the guardrails, guidelines, et cetera, to make sure that this powerful technology can be leveraged the right way. And the last track, I think this is probably more pertinent to us as a media company. It's about monetization using our content, just as you've seen in the news where OpenAI has signed these relationships with News Corp and Axel Springer, et cetera. We're exploring certain pathways around that itself. So it's absolutely dramatically changing every facet of the business landscape as well as the consumer landscape. And so those are at least the pathways by which we are exploring how to incorporate it, how to embrace it, and how to get the benefits out of it.
That's fantastic. Again, from a corporate perspective, I think your vision is very forward thinking, if you will. But I do have a curious question. You mentioned one of your pillars is actually for generative AI to create contents. Look, I'm hearing and I'm seeing a lot of these fake videos, fake news, fake contents out there, right? How do you make sure that both from an ethical, legal perspective, but also from a reality standpoint, you curate these to become the trusted media company going into
Yeah.
the future?
Great question, Arvind. And that's where it starts with the human in the middle, right? So if you go ahead and basically say, help. So for example, right, we have somebody who uses a GPT that they've created, and if you use the prompts right, when you use the GPT, you can prevent hallucination and all the challenges that come with that. So for
Sure.
example, if you want to write a GPT that would give you Oscar trivia or cricket trivia or whatever it is,
Right.
it can be created once and reused, etc. So that's a simple type of capability. And with content, we are absolutely quite careful because we at least in the media space and anywhere else,
Yep.
it's really about the trust our customers have in the content we create. So that's a big focus. So there's always a human involved in vetting any of the use of these generative AI technologies. And to your point about fake news, media being created by generative AI tools and capabilities. That's a big concern for us. We are definitely working to bring forward solutions that deliver content authenticity, whether it be in terms of working with Adobe for how videos are created or any content is created, as well as other organizations, etc. So that's simply the reason why we have that pillar of responsible AI and making sure that it's a balance between an offensive approach to how we embrace and adopt this solution, but making sure that we have the right guardrails.
No, yeah, very well said on the offensive and the defensive side, right? So,
And even in terms of using avatars and things like that to be able to deliver the content, etc. Again, this is a fast-moving landscape. I was reading an article about how the Indian news TV agency Doordarshan was using avatars to deliver news. But again, it comes down to so fundamentally, you can create the news and you can use an avatar, and now you're able to take that same news, translate it across. For a country like India that has so many languages,
multiple
you're able to
languages. Yeah,
deliver
yeah,
it,
yeah.
effectively and efficiently. So I think it's going to come down to different set of approaches. I think it's going to vary by different regions, countries, businesses, etc. But I think the landscape is flourishing with like what you were saying, Arvind, a number of companies that have just emerged in the first half of even 23, and
That's right.
it even got, I would say, good in some ways, worse in other ways,
Yeah.
where it was just a proliferation of organizations, etc. So yeah, it's definitely a fast-moving space.
Hey, listen, you touched up a lot on the corporate side. Now, some of the audience who may be listening to it are the budding entrepreneurs, right? They
Yes.
have a journey of their own. So I want to kind of, because you're also an advisor for many entrepreneurs and businesses, I want to shift the focus a little bit and start talking about in your journey as you're advising and mentoring entrepreneurs. How are they seeing Gen AI? Do they see that as a competitive threat, a landscape that they can get into? Maybe they can use it. What are your thoughts there?
I think it varies in across various markets and segments, Arvind. But definitely the overwhelming focus is as an opportunity. You know what I mean? I think both in terms of creating new product capabilities as well as using generative AI capabilities to deliver services more effectively, efficiently, etc. So, for example, if you are a content creating individual who has a business or a small business, etc., now it dramatically changes the ability for you to create very rich content very quickly.
Yep.
It allows you to grow margins and profits at a much better clip than if you didn't have these technologies, etc. So it's definitely more of a boom than anything else. So I think that's kind of one of the things. The foundational piece, though, Arvind, when you look at as an entrepreneur, in the VC world, the venture capital world, they have this saying, which you're probably very familiar. Is it a vitamin or a painkiller, right? So if you look at this,
Yes.
the opportunity, is it going to, be a painkiller and really, because of that, be adopted and have better product market fit, or it's nice to have vitamin? And so that's kind of the lens by which I think every entrepreneur should look at. And oftentimes, I see individuals who created a capability or a product that's more a vitamin, but somehow they've convinced themselves that it's a painkiller. But on the flip side, again, vitamins, necessarily are not a bad thing. But if you're able to look at a challenge that you are facing on a daily basis, a business et cetera, is facing on a daily basis. And if you can create a painkiller, then you have, and then more importantly, tie it back to good, solid go-to-market strategies. Because I think, creating a product is not easy, but the difficult part is really getting it sold, and even more difficult is making that a profitable business, because you can bring in revenue, but you may not be profitable. So I think those are some of the things to look at. The other thing I would, I may pepper a couple of other perspectives around entrepreneurship. I
Sure.
have two sons who are in college, so I'm trying to also get them to see being entrepreneurial as a career path and a career track.
Wow.
And I'm always telling them about innovating and things like that. And there's this saying, entrepreneurship may not be for everyone, but everybody should try it out at least once. And I think that's the mantra I would share with anybody. And so I think the things I see with entrepreneurs is it's very rare that you have one individual. When you start something, you're going to be solid in product and sales and marketing and operations and all of that stuff. So I typically see companies that have a co-founder type setup where
Yep.
you have two or more individuals coming together,
Yep.
knowing their strengths, working together, not ego driven, have better chances of being successful versus organizations where it's one person who has all the ideas, and then they're trying to bring in individuals to help with various things.
Specific
So
aspects of the business. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So those are my views, Arvind. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts as well.
Absolutely. First of all, I like your vitamins and painkillers analogy. I think that's very, very standard, for any entrepreneur. But I do want to add this, and I don't know if you heard this before. The Apple iPhone was a vitamin.
Yes.
So if you would have asked back then, BlackBerry said they're not solving any problem. I've got the keyboard that makes sound. People love it, right?
Yep.
And Nokia also said they're very expensive and they're
Yep.
touchscreen. I mean, who's gonna feel good about touchscreens?
Yep.
Here we are, Apple dominating the entire market, right? So they
Yep.
created a new thing called I whatever, iPod,
Yep.
iPad,
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
And it was the
here
App
we are.
Store, right? At the end of the day,
It
that
was
that
an
was
app store. That's right.
the game changer.
That's
When
right.
you look at it, that's where they are making all their revenue, because it's the whole ecosystem that they built around the device that really has made it must have
Good.
for all intents and
Absolutely.
purposes.
So you'd ask me, Mahendra, what are my perspectives on entrepreneurship, specifically for Gen AI as a competitive advantage, right? So I can think of four things that if I may. So first things first, the Gen AI ability allows you, the average entrepreneur, for example, your sons, um, it sets up an even plane. So if your son has an idea and he wants to go and execute it, starting from product inception to product build to go to market strategy, the contents are available for you to start thinking about and socializing with somebody like you, so you can guide them, but you don't have to spoon feed them.
Yep.
So Gen AI almost becomes your advisor, your friend, or your phone a friend kind of an approach, right? Back then you used to talk to 15 people to get this information. Now it's all, or you use this thing called library where they
Yep.
have books. Now it's all digitized. So I think that's
Yeah.
number one.
It's a
Biggest enabler.
massive knowledge accelerator. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Now, if you are a true Gen AI enabled product, and when I say true, you have the ability both technically and functionally to prove that your product works with Gen AI, right? I think your valuation increases significantly. I don't want to throw numbers in there because numbers are very deceiving.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it's proven that when you use Gen AI and you know how to use it and you have a story around it, it does increase the valuation pretty significantly. Now, the third and the most important thing in my journey, Mahendra, is that as a person using Gen AI as my friend, it allows me to get into new markets. It allows me to create innovation that I may not have thought about.
Mhm.
If you assemble your question wisely to a Gen AI like a Chat GPT
Yep.
or a Perplexity or both, it creates a structure around your story that allows you to innovate with a structure,
Yep.
right? So I think that's a big competitive advantage. Again, back to that even plane. It sets us all in that same plane. Now you just need to know how to use it as your friend,
Yep.
right? And last but certainly not the least, as you said, any any Gen AI capabilities that you use within your product, you should think very strongly about your go-to-market strategy,
Yep.
be it your competitive advantage, be it your product market fit, be it your TAM, SOM, SAM, and all of that. I think the reason I bring that up is many people say I'm Gen AI enabled, but
Yep.
they don't have a story around it. Like, what are you trying to solve? Again, back to the pain relief versus a vitamin, right?
Yep.
It's neither.
Yep.
I don't have a story around how this can enhance efficiency. I don't have a story around how this can, boost your revenue.
Yep.
Neither.
Yep.
So your story should be very, very clear, especially when you use Gen AI. And here's the best part. You can ask Gen AI about it so it can frame a story for you,
Yep. Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
So
100.
there's a lot of information out there that it provides you a solid competitive advantage. The
Yep.
question is, are you able to use it and do you know how to use it as your friend?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Great perspectives, Arvind. It was great, chatting with you on this topic. Hopefully, it's useful for our audience. So, just in terms of follow on, if anybody would like to reach out and have a connect with me, and so that if you'd like to get any more perspectives, etc., please. Hit me up on LinkedIn. You should be able to search Mahendra Durai Hearst, and I will absolutely accept the invitation, and hopefully we'll be able to create a conversation, and I can provide some perspectives. You can also shoot me an email. My personal email is md@durai.io. So you can shoot me an email and hopefully start a discussion on this topic. So, Arvind, your floor.
Thank you so much, Mahendra. Really appreciate your insights here. It's a pleasure talking to you, first of all. And I hope our audience take your email and your LinkedIn invitation very seriously. Same way with me as well. You can reach out to me. Find me, Arvind Murali. That's and my tag is Smarchitect. That's SMARCHITECT, Smart Architect. But lovely to meet you again. Thank you so much for your insights, Mahendra.
Absolutely. Thank you.